Welcome back again, students. Now, what I want to do here is explain to you the issue of property, plant and equipment, which is IS 16. Now, what is it that we're talking about when we're talking about property, plant and equipment? Like you see there on the slide, it gives us examples of property, plant and equipment. It says we are talking about land, buildings, plant, equipment in bracket factory, equipment office, furniture, vehicles. Now, these are classified as property, plant and equipment because they are basically a group of assets that are non-current, meaning it's assets that we can use for more than a year. I mean, if we've got land, you can use land for more than a year, building you can use for more than a year. So they are classified as property, plant and equipment. Remember, a long time ago, they used to be called long-term assets. Remember, we've got now we call them non-current assets. So these are the examples of what we will be dealing with in terms of this statement. Now, what are we talking about here? We have what we call initial measurement. So what we're saying, if you buy a vehicle or if you buy a building, how do you measure this building? Right. Property, plant and equipment, you can see there is measured at its cost, right? So initially when you buy it, that means you measure it at that cost price, right? The amount that you paid, we call it the purchase price, right? Now this cost, what is this cost? We are saying cost is defined as the amount of cash or cash equivalents paid or the fair value of the assets, that basically the consideration given at the time of acquisition or construction. So whatever that we are paying, it's what we call the cost price or cash equivalent paid. So cash equivalent, they're talking about a situation whereby you are saying to someone, give me a vehicle, I will give you a building, right? Obviously, if you get the vehicle, you've given someone a building which is a cash equivalent that you've paid. All right, then they say, or the fair value of the consideration given at the time of acquisition or construction. So in short, they're saying, if let's say you build something, you build a house, when you have to ascertain the cost price of that house, you'll go back and say, how much have I spent in terms of this house? Right, it's a fair value of that house based on what you've spent. Right, now then we say initial cost includes purchase price, directly attributable cost, and certain future cost. Now what here we're explaining a situation whereby if you buy something, not only is the purchase price going to form part of the cost, we've got things like your direct attributable cost. So there we are talking about delivery cost, installation cost, and also we're talking about certain future costs, meaning costs that you're going to incur in future because of you acquiring this asset. You are going to incur those costs. So those costs basically form part of the initial cost of the asset. Now let's deal with directly attributable costs. What is this? These are costs that are necessary in bringing the asset to its working condition. So what they're saying, I'll give you a simple example. Let's take the initial delivery and handling cost. If you go and buy a computers, let's say you buy computers in town, you want to bring them to your township or your suburb. And there, what you want to do, maybe you want to open an internet cafe. Now, if you buy those computers from town, there is no way that those computers will deliver themselves to your house. You have to pay costs or delivery cost, and those computers will be transported from town to your place. So the delivery cost forms part of the cost of an asset. It is necessary because if you don't pay those delivery costs, the computer will remain in the shop. It will never reach your destination where it is basically your house, where it's supposed to be used as for internet cafe purposes. So the initial delivery and handling cost, they form part of the cost of the asset. Then you've got the next one, installation and assembly cost. So installation, they're talking about the situation whereby you've got computers, you've bought them, they're delivered. But now remember, computers must be installed. They must be connected, there must be a network, So those installation and assembly costs, they are necessary in bringing the asset to its working condition. So they form part of the cost of the asset. Right. Cost of preparing the site. Now here they are talking about the situation whereby if, let's say, you want to open an internet cafe. When you go and rent a shop, you find that the shop has got steel bars where you're supposed to put your stations. Or for an example, for students it is easy. Let's say we've got a lecture hall which is small, a very small lecture hall that accommodates 30 students, and then we take a decision that we want to convert it into a lab, a computer lab. So we find that we have to remove maybe the chairs there and prepare that site for it to be suitable for a computer lab. So those costs of preparing the site, those costs here of preparing the site, they form part of the initial cost of those computers that you have in your lab. Right. The next one is testing cost. So testing cost, they apply in a situation whereby, for an example, you are installing a machine and the machine is used at a bakery. Let's say it's a bakery. Now, if you install a new machine, you have to test that machine to ensure that the machine is working, right? So those testing costs will form part of the initial cost of that baking machine or whatever the machine is called, okay? Then you've got professional cost. Professional cost, we are talking about costs that are paid to, let's say, for an example, the machine that you are testing. It requires someone of a certain skill to test it. That person, if you pay that person, that man, that professional, it forms part of the initial cost of that asset. Now let's move and look at an example of what we are talking about. Here we've got a company, ABC Limited. ABC Limited bought a computer equipment on 1 January 2020, incurring the following related cost. The purchase price of the computer is 12,000, delivery cost is 5, installation is 3, administration cost is 2. Now, what we need to do here is to look at all these four costs and say, how basically will I calculate my cost of this asset? Right. Now, purchase price, yes, it is part of the cost of the asset. Delivery cost, yes, because this computer must be delivered. Installation, yes, the computer must be delivered and installed to make sure that it is working. Administrative cost, remember, if you look at the first three, purchase price, delivery cost, installation. Once a computer is purchased, it's delivered, installed. When it's installed, it is working now. It's in a working condition. The administrative costs that are incurred, they won't do anything. The computer is working already. It has been installed, it's working, you incur the administrative cost. What is it that they're going to do? No, they're not necessarily the administrative cost. So, in calculating the cost, like here we are required, the cost of the asset is made up of 12,000, 5,000, and 3,000, which is 20,000. That is what will be the cost of this asset by 1 January 2020, right? Excluding administrative cost because it's not necessary, right? Then we look at this example also, in example 2. ABC Limited bought a computer equipment on 1 January 2020, incurring the following related cost. 10,000 purchase price, we have to include that. Delivery cost, we have to include. Assembly cost, meaning we're assembling the computer, we have to include that. Cost of preparing the computer lab. Now, remember, if I have to remove things in that room to make sure that it is suitable to become a computer lab, those costs must be included. Staff training cost, no. A computer will be working. Once I purchase it, deliver it, assemble it, and prepare the site, and it is working. The fact that you as a staff are not trained to operate the computer, it doesn't mean the computer is not working. The computer is working. It is just you that is not able to operate it. The rule says only include costs that are necessary in bringing the asset into its working condition, meaning the computer must work. The first four, purchase price, delivery cost, assembly cost, cost of preparing the computer lab, are necessary. The last one, no, it's not. Now, you will see when you look at the cost of this asset, it's 10,000 plus 4 plus 2 plus 5. It's 21,000, the cost of this asset. Those are necessary in bringing the asset into its working condition. Right. Now, we come here. Now, here what are we saying? We are saying when you are required to disclose assets, you disclose them at cost minus or less accumulated depreciation and less accumulated impairment losses, which we are going to explain in the next few days. Now, that is how you disclose it. It's cost less accumulated depreciation. Now, what is depreciation? Depreciation, we call it a systematic allocation. Why do we call it systematic allocation? Because you apportion it systematically over the years. For an example, if you've got a car that you believe that you can use for 5 years, you will take a decision that my depreciation is 20% because you've looked at that it's over 5 years. Systematic, right? And so it's a systematic allocation of the depreciable amount of an asset useful life, right? Now, what is depreciable amount? Depreciable amount, it is your cost less your residual. Residual is the amount that you're going to get at the end of the useful life of the asset, right? Now, depreciation has 3 variables, which is residual value, useful life, and the method that you are using. Straight line, that's what we're talking about. Useful life is the number of years, 5 years, 10 years. Some they use percentages, 20%, 10%. Residual, which is the amount that you receive at the end. Now, take note of depreciable amount. Right. Depreciable amount says it is cost less residual. So whatever that remains, it's what you can then depreciate. Okay. So that is your residual. Now you come here. Right. Now we've got a cost example. Again, we're saying ABC Limited bought a bread baking machine 1 January 2020, incurring the following related costs. Now, by this time now you should be able to pick which costs are necessary, which costs are not necessary. Purchase price, yes, it is necessary. Delivery and assembly cost, yes, it is necessary. Installation cost, yes, it is necessary. Testing, we have to test that it will basically make this bread that they're talking about. Okay. Resale of breads during testing phase, I will explain to you that one for now. Let's move to administrative cost. No, we don't need that. The administrative cost. Now, let's look at resale of bread during testing phase. This 1,500, I'm talking about this. Right. Now, if here they're talking about the situation whereby, let's say you test during that testing cost stage, you test and you manufacture 50 bread during the testing phase, and then you take a decision that you are going to sell these 50 breads to maybe your employers or your employees or your companies that you are working with, maybe your service provider, whoever basically you're going to deal with. Now, if you sell these breads to these people, they will give you 1,500. So in short, they are reducing your testing cost, which is 3,000, by 1.5. Right? Because remember, the 50 breads that you've manufactured, they are here in this 3,000. If you receive something here, the 1.5, it's reducing the 3,000 testing cost, because now the breads are in the 3,000 at cost price and you're selling them here at 1.5, you recover something. Now let's look at the cost of this baking machine. It's 50,000. I'm here. It's 50,000, which is purchase price. 6,000 delivery and assembly cost. 4,000 installation cost. 3,000 testing minus the 1.5 that you've recovered against the 3,000. It gives you an asset of 61,500. Okay. Right. Now here, then we are saying we want to know how much will be the disposal cost of this baking machine if we sell it at 30 June. Right. here we are also asking that question here. Okay, now why I did this? It's because some students in the note, the PPE note, they've got a tendency that when there's a disposal, they put disposal and then minus 61,005. You cannot put in the note under disposal the cost price unless the asset was bought today and was sold today. That's the only way it can happen. But if an asset was bought 1 January like this one and it was sold by 30 June, you must depreciate it. Right. Now, 61,000 here you'll see under disposal carrying amount. It's 61,000 the cost price. It was depreciated for 6 months, isn't it? 61 minus the 6 months, it gives you 55. So in the note, the PPE note, you are supposed to put 55,350 minus 55,350 as your disposal amount. I added this thing deliberately because I've seen people under disposal putting the cost price. They ignore the fact that the asset has already been depreciated up until that date of sale. You see, the date of sale or disposal is 32. So you must depreciate it up until that date and then take the carrying amount and put it under your disposal in the note. Okay. Thank you, students. We'll proceed with a revaluation within a short space of time. Thank you.